Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Susan. Today I want to share with you on how you can draft your princess dart. This is without joining. Like if you want to make a dress, if you want to make a blouse and you do not want to add bustier to your princess cut, this is exactly how you're going to draft your princess dart. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Like this, if you want to make a blouse like this, if you want to make a dress like that, and you do not want to use bustier and you want it to still be fitted, even if it's not going to be fitted, as long as you're using a princess dart, just follow this video and you will learn how to do it perfectly. So I've gone ahead to fold my hip measurement plus some extra inches. This is because it's going to be a long dress before the joining, so this is like a dress. So from there I'm going to take a shoulder measurement divided by 2, then I'm going to add half inch for seam allowance. Then I'm also going to take the neck width of about 3 inches, then I'm going to also take the neck depth of about 3 inches also. This is for the front. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to, when I'm done, I'm just going to go ahead now to cuff it and bring out that round neck. So when I was done doing that, I'm going to go ahead now to take a armhole measurement divided by 2. So you can get your armhole by dividing your bust circumference by 6 and adding 1.5 inches to it. So when I was done, what I had was 8, and that is exactly what I imputed there. 8. So for me to make sure that I have exactly what I have at the shoulder, I have to come down to that point and mark exactly what I have at the shoulder. So when I was done, I'm just going to go ahead now to draw a straight line across. Then when I was done, I'm going to slope by half an inch. I'm going to slope the shoulder by half an inch. When I was done, I'm going to connect it this way from the shoulder down to the neck width. So when I was done, I'm going to take a bust measurement divided by 4. Then I'm going to draw a line this way because I want to curve the armhole. So when I was done, from there I'll just curve it this way, and this is, we have our armhole. Then so from there I'm going to take a measurement now. So our bust point is actually 10 inches, so I take shoulder to our bust point is 10 inches, shoulder to our under bust is actually 15 inches, and shoulder to our waistline is 18 inches, while shoulder to our hip line is actually about 28 inches. So that is the 18 inches. And for you to also know your waist measurement, just count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, depending on how tall the client is, or it can be 9, it can be 8, and it can be 10 also. So when I was done, what I have there is 8 inches, and I'm just going to mark. Then I want the length of this particular dress to be, I want the half cut is going to be about 29 inches or 30 inches. Then I'm going to use about other inches to complete it. So that's just what I want to show you guys. So when I was done, for us to have our princess cut, I'm going to come in by a nipple to nipple, which is 8. I'm going to divide it by 2, which is 4. So at the bust point I marked 4, at the under bust I marked 4, at the waistline I marked 4, also at the hip line I'm going to mark 4 also, and at the hem line I'm going to mark 4 also. Do not forget that I added about 1 inch at the down part of this dress as hemming allowance. So when I was done, just go ahead and connect this line, straight line, that way. So for us to actually have our princess cut, we need to come down at the armhole by 3 inches. Come down by 3 inches from your armhole and just connect it this way. You can see it's very simple. Just connect it that way to meet with your armhole, that 3 inches that you marked at your armhole. Just do that with a straight line. So that's it, guys. We did not add anything, we did not remove anything. So this line that we actually have here, we are going to cut it and we are going to join it back. So by the time we join it, there is going to be a shortage. So that means there is a need for us to increase at the armhole side. You get me? There is a need. So you're just going to increase it by 1 inch. So just come up that way and just draw mark 1 inch from there. This is going to make it to be balanced when you're done sewing it. If you actually have excesses, you can actually cut it, because if you do not increase it, you're going to have shortage actually. So that means we are going to have a new armhole at the down part. So this is me just trying to connect so we can have a new armhole. So I'm trying to connect it down to our armhole, the initial armhole, so it's just going to blend actually. So that is it. So that's going to be a new armhole. So by the time we are done with stitching it together, we are not going to have any shortage. So that is it. Our armhole is still going to be complete. So right now, you already know we took our bust measurement at that armhole part. So I'm just going to add 2 inches for seam allowance. That is it. I'm just going to add 2 inches for seam allowance, and that 2 inches I'm going to take it down to the bust point. That is it. So after that, when we are done, we are going to take our under bust measurement divided by 4. Whatever you have, you add it there, and you add 2 inches for stitching allowance. Added 2 inches for stitching allowance, and then when we are done, we're also going to take our waist measurement divided by 4. Whatever you have, you add it there, and you add 2 inches for seam allowance also. So that's what I did right there. These 2 inches is going to save, because remember, when we cut here, we are going to use ½ inch to sew it back, and I'm not going to add lining to this dress, so the 2 inches is actually accurate. It's actually okay for me. So I'll come at the waist hip, at the hip measurement, and I'm also going to take her hip measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches for seam allowance. Then that 2 inches that I added, I'll just use it straight down. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll just take it to the aim line. So right now, let's go ahead now to connect our lines together. So from the bust, you're going to connect it to the under bust, and from the under bust, you're going to connect it to the waist, and from the waist, we are going to connect it also to the hip, measurement. So after connecting it to the hip measurement, you're just going to go down with a straight line. So if you're going to have half cut, maybe you would have been at the waist. That's, you just stop your measurement at the waist. It's because this is a dress, so that's why I took it to the hip and all of that. So guys, we are basically done for the front. The back part is actually a little bit tricky, so I will urge you to pay attention and listen, and do not skip any part. So guys, if you've watched this video to this point, I would like you to please give this video a thumbs up, please subscribe, and please turn on the notification button so you'll be notified each time I post a new one. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for always coming back. I really do appreciate. So you can see how I cut it there. I have cut it from the side, and I also cut this other part, and I've tear open this part. So I'm also cutting this other part. So guys, that's what we have. This is exactly what we have. This is how your princess dart is supposed to look like. So for the back pattern, I actually want to use a pattern paper for more clarity, because I want you guys to see very well what I'm going to be doing at this back part. So I've gone ahead to keep about 1.5 inches for zipper allowance. This other way I've kept it, and at the up also I've kept some inches. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and take the neck width for this, which is going to be 3 inches, and the neck depth is going to be 1 inch. So when I was done, I'm just going to go ahead now to connect. This is just the basic, guys, so you can actually play around with whatever you want. So I'm going to take a shoulder measurement divided by 2 also, and I'm going to add ½ inch also for seam allowance. Actually, this dress I'm making it for my sister. So from there, I'm going to also come down by a armhole measurement. I'm going to come down by an armhole measurement, and I'm also going to slope the shoulder by about ½ inch. Remember how we did at the front? That's exactly what we repeated at the back. so we are not just going to be wasting much of our time on that. So from this point also, I'm going to make sure that I have 8 inches that I took at the shoulder, and when I was done, I'm just going to go ahead right now to connect it. So that is it, guys. I'm just going to draw a line this way so I can be able to curve my armhole. So when I was done, guys, I'm going to go ahead now to divide as shoulder measure. Boss, beg your pardon, guys. I'm going to divide our bust measurement divided by 4. Then I'm going to just connect it this way. I'll just dotty because I want to have that round arm. Or you can use your curve rule and just do it. And you can also use your free hand. So I actually use my free hand, and that is exactly what we came out with. So when I was done, I'm going to go ahead now to take our measurement. So I'm going to take her bust point, and we're going to take her waist. There is no under bust at this other side. I'm going to take her hip, and I'm going to take the hem line. It's going to be the same length at the front. That's what we're going to also have at the back. So when I was done, I'm just going to go ahead now and connect these lines together, guys. That's exactly what we are doing right now. So I'm just going to label that shoulder line, and this is our bust point and our waistline. We actually skip the under bust and also the hip line and also the half length, which is also the hem line, like the down part of this dress. So that is it. So at this point, you're going to also come in by a nipple to nipple divided by 2 at the bust point, at the waistline, and also at the hip line. We're going to do it straight down. So just come in by 4 inches. So just divide a nipple to nipple by 2, and whatever you have, you're just going to add it there. Like if a nipple to nipple is actually 8, divided by 2, you're going to have 4. For us to avoid all the bulge and everything, we're going to be doing all of that at this back pattern. So also at the back pattern, at the armhole, I also came down by 3 inches. You can actually do 2.5 or whatever you want. You can actually play around with it. So I actually came in also by 3 inches, and when I dotted, I'll just use my marker to also connect it this way. And yes, that is it. Just connect it this way, and this is our princess cut. Okay, so for us to have a flawless bag, that's something like this without bulging out or something, we're actually going to take about few inches out of this waist part. So I'm going to take 1/4 inch at this other part, then I'm going to take 1/4 inch at the other part. So that's going to be 1/2 inch that I took out from this waist at this point. So what I'm going to do right now is just as if from your waist you want to take your that measurement. So you're about 4 inches upwards, or you can do 4.5 inches upwards. So I actually did 4 inches upwards, and just like you're taking your skirt measurement, also your skirt, you're taking your darts for your skirt, you just come up down also by about 5 inches or 4.5. Then after that, you're just going to connect it this way. From the hip, you connect it to that point, and also connect it this other way. You're also going to, from that point, you're also going to connect it from the up. You can see, and also this other part, you also connect it. Guys, please go ahead and like this video. Please give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much. So guys, note that this particular one, we're actually going to replace it. So now let's also take care of our zip being bulging out, or all those things you normally see on people dresses. This is how to avoid it. Come in by 1/2 inch at the waist. Come in by 1/2 inch at the waist, just like you see me doing, and from that 1/2 inch, just connect it down towards the neckline. You can see, connect it that way. And also from this down, you're also going to connect it this way. I'm actually not going to replace this particular one. I will not replace it actually. So that is it. By the time you take out all of this, you're just going to have that bag that is going to be very, very beautiful. So guys, that's it. So I'll just get to extend our neck to the zipper allowance. So that is it. So guys, you know, when we are going to cut this out, there is still going to be a shortage if we do not increase it. So go ahead and increase it by 1 inch and then connect it this way. I understand if you do not understand at the front, this is what I did. So that's why I said let me use paper so you guys will see very well. So at that bust point, I'm just going to come in by about 2 inches for seam allowance. Also guys, you know, we're already taking our bust measurement. So at the waist, I'm going to take her waist measurement divided by 4, waist measurement divided by 4, and whatever we took out from here, I'm just going to measure it. Whatever I took out from this part, I'm going to measure it because I'm going to replace it at that. I'm going to replace it there. But if your fabric is actually stretchy, there might be no need for that. So but you just have to, because this is like, this fabric is not stretchy at all, so that's why I had to add it back. So at that waist, at the hip measurement, take hip measurement divided by 4 and add about 2 inches, and when you're done, just connect them together that way. From the bust point, you connect it down to the waist measurement, and from the waist measurement you connect it down to the hip measurement. Yes guys, just that way, connect it down to the hip measurement. So after that, I'm just going to go ahead now and draw a straight line down to the hem line of this particular dress. So after that, I'm just going to blend it this way. If you're actually making a dress that doesn't have half cuts, this is how you're going to do it. I had a lot of questions, how did you do it? There was a video I dropped actually of that red dress. Everybody were like, how did you do it? You're just asking me. So guys, that one was not, I did not do that. That one was not princess dart at all. That one was just normal. I just took all the dart from the zipper allowance and I took bust dart, and that was it. I actually used pattern paper all through. So but this one, there is a cut. So that's it guys. I just went ahead now to cut this out. So guys, this part is actually tricky. So when you're cutting it, you just have to be careful and cut it through just this way. You can see, then you also come over to this side and you cut it like that. So that's it. So by the time you're done taking your dart, you can see there is a space there. So by the time you're done taking your dart, it's going to be very, very beautifully to come out very well. Also at the zip, I'm going to cut this out, and that's going to be it guys. If you follow this step carefully, you will really love how your outfits are going to be coming out. So I went ahead also to cut that way, and I also cut this other way guys. So the video of that red dress, I'm actually going to drop it so you guys will go see it, and you know, you can watch that one too. So guys, this is how it is. This is how it came out, and you guys know I like sloping. I like my shoulders to actually fall. So this is exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to come up by 1 inch from the back, and then I'm going to reduce from the front, and by that time our shoulders are going to be falling and it will be very, very beautiful. That's actually optional guys. It's not compulsory, it's optional. Whether you do it or you don't do it, your dress will still come out very beautiful. So guys, this is where I would like to come to the end of this video. Thank you so much guys for watching. I really do appreciate. Please like this video. If you found value in this video, like this video, drop me a kind comment, and please subscribe, and see you in my next one. Bye.